See, this one was an interesting game. Was this more about the Eagles playing well or the Falcons just not bringing it and not able to pull it one out?
Well, the Falcons, for one, it's hard to do what they had to do. When you go in as a wild card, they had the hardest road. They had the toughest assignment in the wild card round in going to Los Angeles against the team in the NFC we thought might have been the most dangerous team in the L.A. Rams. So now they got to come back home, get back on a plane, let's not forget, we've criticized them because Carson's out, but this is the #1 seed. They had a bye week, but this is a team that's been good special teams-wise, good running the football, very good on the defensive side. And when you get a week's rest, that's what you're able to see. Nick Foles, can he be more of a game manager in a low-scoring game? Yes, if the defense is able to keep him in the game. So that's what we were able to see. It's not the Falcons falling on their face. The Eagles got good personnel defensively. They match up pretty good with the Falcons. But did we think the Falcons were going to go on the road and beat the Rams and then go to Philadelphia and be able to beat them? Like, they got a lot of good football players on the Eagles, but all we talked about was their quarterback. And Nick Foles, he did play better in this game, but collectively, the team was able to make some plays earlier from a wide receiver to ease the tension because Nick wasn't playing great. We weren't making – the coach can say what he wants. Oh, people didn't change. You know the reason why? Because Nick looked like that when he got in the game. It wasn't our fault. We didn't make it up. The defense hadn't been playing good. The offensive line, they couldn't run the ball. So that was who they were. They were able to put it together enough to play against a tired Falcons team.
Listen, I do my best every day to come on this show and talk about the people that did well, talk about the success rather than the failure. Mm-hmm. But the Falcons have to be embarrassed might be too strong of a word, but bashful, a little red-cheeked about what the hell happened to them in the second half of this football game.
That was a different game.
You can say the Eagles have had great special teams, throughout the year. And then they muff a punt and give them a short field.
Yes.
Their running backs have been awesome. Yeah, except for on the first drive of the game where they fumble the ball away. The Eagles were handing the Falcons this game on a silver platter. Get a double-digit lead on Nick Foles. The stadium steal all the energy away from it, put the game on Foles' shoulder, see how it works out for you. And the Falcons couldn't take advantage. You had a halftime lead on Nick Foles, and you don't score a point in the second half. You have one touchdown in this entire football game, and it's after a muffed punt on an 18-yard field. You can't have one sustained touchdown drive in a game to go to the NFC Championship game. You mentioned the 6th seed. They had the toughest road. Well, typically, that's the toughest road.
Yes.
This year, the Rams were a tough matchup, and they played very well in that football game. I will give them credit. They also, by the way, in that football game, only had one sustained touchdown drive. But I guarantee you, if truth serum time, Atlanta, you can either go to Philly or to Minnesota. What would you rather? They were thrilled they got Philadelphia, and their defense played well enough. I know the Eagles have a good defense. To score one touchdown, given the turnovers, given the short fields, to score 0 second-half points, man, that's a bad look no matter how you cut it. So I understand that Doug Peterson is talking about the disrespect that has been paid to his team, and I understand he wants us to give credit to the Eagles' defense. To me, this was about the Falcons coming up short when they had a golden opportunity to erase what was a mediocre regular season, be back in the NFC Championship game with a real chance to beat Minnesota. This was a bad missed opportunity for Atlanta.
Yeah, we were talking about how the Falcons should have done exactly what the Vikings did against this Eagles team. Come out fast, come out strong, take advantage of Nick Foles having a very shaky first half and trying to ease his way in. He was overthrowing, he was nervous, he was jittery, and they didn't do it. And they find themselves in the second half where they absolutely couldn't do a thing.
And we can't forget now, the conditions on Saturday were not the best for throwing the football. But you could see the Eagles' nerves at the beginning of the game. And they looked like just a postseason edition of what we saw the last 2 weeks of the season, but even worse. They're very fortunate to be able to recover from that awful start. And Atlanta gave them the opportunity to be able to get back into the game.
Atlanta had every opportunity to bury them. early.
Yes.
They didn't bury them early. There was one moment of bad luck that cost Atlanta right before the half. Nick Foles tries to throw an interception. The defensive back knees it to the other player, and it ends up being a field goal that was a critical 3 points.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, that was good.
I mean, there was one moment of bad luck that goes against Atlanta. You've got to be able to overcome that. And Atlanta looked to me like a cliche, soft dome team. A team that, you know what, it is cold, y'all are hitting hard, we don't want to be out here.
That's a good point.
And it reminded me last year, they got to play they had the 1 seed, so they played every game in a dome, they played the Super Bowl in the dome, and I'm not going to kill Julio for that. I'd like to see him make that play. He's one of the best receivers in the league. That's a potential game-winning, game-changing play. I get it, but he played well. Devontae Freeman, who I like, 10 carries for 7 yards. Like, you can't, you talk about this all the time. Football is not a game meant to be played in perfect conditions at all times.
No.
If it was, everyone would have a dome.
Right.
You've got to have a second gear. Philly was giving you this football game, and you couldn't take it from them.
And we should mention, this was the first game that the three of us actually watched together at one place. We were at Cece's house. He actually had the exact, this is what the living room looked like. We set up the living room so it looked just like this, and we sat like this in our grown-up clothes.
Jenna didn't want me to say this on TV. It took one game of Jenna watching football with me to then place a large wager on the second game.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.